against all of the roots that the mage is going to be bringing against him. Forever second place, they played a very long and hard fought series, a 2-3 series against the LSD, and now they have to fight a WLS, and it's a similar composition. I would say that you can exploit the warrior a little bit more in terms of positioning as a melee class, so maybe Forever second place can find some opportunities. Both these teams are facing elimination. The gates have opened. How aggressively is Cavys Dad going to play? It seems like the pillar is their friend, just hanging back, waiting for the invisibility for Fried Kitty, but Fried Kitty is not even using it. It seems like we're going to have a standoff, neither team really wanting to give up that defender's advantage.
I wonder who the main target is going to be for the shadow play, because like obviously if they can reach T-Bow and connect to T-Bow, they want to go him. Like if they can connect to the Shaman twice, they can probably win the game, maybe 3 times if the stone form's enough for him to survive on one setup. But it depends, of course, how many peels Cavys Dad have available to them. They might just have to go on to Joe Fernandez. He isn't playing the Vigilance, I believe, so I'm not sure if he's using the Mass Reflect either. Maybe he's playing the Safeguard. Maybe he feels like that's the best choice against the Shadow play. We do see them trying to push in, but I think the D-Freeze got grounded there by T-Bow, so an excellent start to the game for Cavys Dad. They're going to be able to play very offensively now. That Icy Veins kind of going to waste. Well played by T-Bow, able to push in now. There's the silence. They're going to go into Joe Fernandez. I think they forced... He didn't even use the Stonefall there. Oh, maybe he's playing the Dispel. I think Inferno might be playing the Imp, which means he can dispel 1 CC or 1 magic debuff from whoever he wants every 10 seconds or so, I believe. Which means they should be out. That'll make it so much harder for Forever second place to get CC onto T-Bow. It's already hard enough with Joe Fernandez in their face. And the Shadow Fuse coming up from Inferno, but that's going to be a real difference. And you can see he just instantly dispels that deep freeze. Well played by Inferno. They really need to connect onto T-Bow, I feel like, but they're just taking so much damage. The Wings comes out from Linway, but there is the Fear and the Storm. Slightly overlap. Villa could just go down here. He's in execute range, but he's going to be okay. The Ice Block comes out. He gets locked on Shadow. I think he might go down before the Spurs here. It doesn't look like he's going to, though. The shield procs, the Wings coming out from Linway, but so many clans used on Forever second place, and they haven't even really got a CC onto T-Bow yet. I feel like they have to push in on him and connect to him if they want to even have a chance of killing this team.
Yeah, it seems like they're really just going after Joe, and I think Joe knows that. T-Bow's pulling back. He's trying to get away from Valet's Fear here, and they're just having a rat race to avoid the CC. And I actually landed the Fear. They might be able to set up a kill off of that on the T-Bow. He's fully dotted, now caught into the Horrify. Comet Storm raining down. They're looking to try and get a kill here. We see T-Bow trinketing, but trinketing into a silence. If they can kill the Spirit Link, maybe they can keep pursuing him. It looks like they're still committing a bit of damage, but they don't have enough to finish him off, and now they are going to feel the pain of this overextension. Joe going for the Stormbolt over onto Linway. He's going to force his Saved by the Light shield to proc. He's desperately trying to connect on the Linway, now choosing to actually pull back with the Blade Storm temporarily, switching over to Fried Kitty, just hitting the closest target to his team. He doesn't want to overextend and exploit himself to the clutches of Forever second place. Now actually just choosing to charge in. Triple Shadow Fury comes out, and Joe's looking to take the game. Ice Block out from Fried Kitty. Linway on the run, caught into another Stormbolt. Linway has to get these casts off. Fortunately, he doesn't have to worry about being interrupted because Infernion, like you were saying, is playing with an Imp pet, so he can no longer interrupt. However, he can dispel magic effects. So defensively, very strong. Offensively, Linway will be able to get those healing casts off much easier. We see Valet getting punished pretty hard in the center of the map. Linway popping his Avenging Wrath to try and counteract Joe Fernandez's recklessness, and it's so far doing okay. At least they're still alive. We see a full Fear on the T-Bow, but he did pre-tremor it. Well done from T-Bow. Now they're unable to set up as T-Bow is just hiding behind that pillar, and the longer they wait, T-Bow's going to have more time for his trinket to rotate off CD.
Yeah, we really have to emphasize how important that pre-tremor was, because if he got feared out there, he would have been feared into the middle of the map. He would have just been free range with no trinket for Forever second place. That could have literally been the death of him. But we do see the Blink CS coming out from Fried Kitty. They're trying to swap it over to Joe. He does have a trinket. He trinket parries instantly. Good reaction from him. You can't dispel a lockout, so Infernion's Imp doesn't help at all with that, but the fact that there's no CC to follow it up means that T-Bow can just kind of top Joe. They do get the trinket there, but T-Bow's trinket's coming up so soon, and I really feel like Forever second place, because of that tremor, have kind of lost their opportunity to get the kill here, and now they're the ones under pressure. 30 seconds on that Wings cooldown for Linway. Villi dropping low, having to pop that dispersion. There's no blocks available for Fried Kitty either. They're going to have such a hard time pushing out. And the thing is, Infernion can still summon a new pet and lock Linway, so he does have to be a little bit scared, especially since they are getting quite close to that kill. I think Joe Fernandez might have just reflected the horror as well. Well played by him. That's just going to put them so far ahead. The Sheepless come out, and you can see he's using the Kona Cold to try cover it so that Infernion can't spare. It looks like he actually succeeded there. So well played by Fried Kitty, playing around this Imp Dispel, but it looks like it doesn't really matter thanks to that Reflect from Joe Fernandez. They're just so fine. Tebow still has his Trinket available, only really Joe who's low on cooldowns, so he is going to be their target of choice, but he can just play offensive anyways. The Aura Mastery heal's coming out from him, and look at Forever second place. They're so low. Linway's Wings coming out just in time, but he's down to 40% himself. He's going to still struggle to out-heal the spread damage. We see the Haunt, the Demon Soul coming out from Infernian. So much damage onto Fried Kitty, who does have one block available, but he really doesn't want to have to use it defensively. Maybe he can use that at some point to set up this kill onto Joe that the team desperately needs in the next minute or so.
Yeah, really, Joe Fernandez is the only opening for Forever second place to get a kill. Tebow sitting down for a drink. Valet's pushing in. Pre-Tremor comes down. Valet doesn't fall for it. He should be able to kill off the Tremor and land a full fear and maybe get a decent setup out of it. Seems like he's a little bit reluctant to overextend. Tebow just going side to side around the pillar playing ring around the Rosie. Joe Fernandez, in the meantime, is just chunking Valet's health bar away. Valet moving in. Looks like he wants to try and set something up. There's the full fear. Surely they're going to swap to Tebow. He's out in the center of the map. They're looking for it. There's the Horrify. Do they have enough damage to finish him off? Infernion's going to try and shut them down with a triple Shadow Fury. We see the Safeguard out from Joe as well, doing a good job to peel for Tebow. Will it be enough, though, to keep him alive? He's still dipping dangerously low, forced to Trinket, forced to drop the Link, but he will survive as a result. And now Cavys Dad need to bring the aggression forward. Linaway is on the run. He's trying to get out of line of sight. They're trying to force Joe Fernandez back. They don't want him tearing their team apart. He's just in the center of the map, unable to push forward. Actually trading out that dive by the sword, a little bit premeditative play from him. He saw the Frozen Orb. He wanted to predict the damage, and he will survive as a result, but now being down that dab of the sword and Tebow's Trinket could be an opening. Forever second place, need to survive a little bit longer, but that Stormbolt into a full fear out from Joe might just be the game. Fried Kitty blocking in execute range. You know, he saw death in the face and barely survived. Valet is running forward. Valet isn't giving up, though. He's trying to cross the map. Joe sees it. Joe's going to stop him in his tracks, preventing him from getting to Tebow, and really it's not looking good for Forever second place.
Yeah, Joe just seems to know exactly what they have to do to survive. In fact, their whole team does. Tebow played very safe on that last setup. He realizes they're quite close to their kill here, and this could be it. The Stormbot comes down to Linway. This is the last chance for Forever second place, though. They do get that Hodge. Can they end the game here? There's no Trinket on Tebow. They really need to. The Safeguard coming out from Joe. They're using everything. He gets locked on the Fear. There's no peels coming out. He can Stoneform that silence, though. He's going to recover because of that. Unfortunately, there's no VT available for the Stoneform to stop that Link instantly. I think he would have survived anyways, and that was kind of their offensive push. They used so many cooldowns there, the Rallying Cry and the Stoneform used only by Cavys Dad. However, they've committed so much for second place for that push, and now they have no wings available for 40 seconds. Linway somehow still holding on to that bubble, but I'm more concerned about the fact that his raw healing might not be enough to heal up Fried Kitty and Villi. Villi starts at the spurs available. He is dropping quite low. The Sheep's coming out onto Joe Fernandez, well peeled by Fried Kitty. If they can actually survive this, and you look at Tebow, he's actually caught into the full fear now. This could be the game. The full disarm comes out, and did it get dispelled? I think he might have got good RNG on the dispel. The deep comes out anyways. Can they get the DR Hodge? They can. They could kill him here. He's down to 30%. The silence to fill it up. He's going to die here. The Healthstone isn't enough. Can they get the cross kill? Linway's down to about 30%, but he has that bubble available. And Forever second place actually managed to get that kill, despite the fact that Infernian dispelled the deep freeze. There was no Spirit Links available. So that's going to be 1-0 to Forever second place.
Wow. That was intense, man. There you go. Forever second place is going to take game number 1. Linaway, you know, put to the test, really. He had very little mana, very little offensive or defensive cooldowns other than just, you know, breaks like his bubble and his trinket, and he was able to heal up his team through that pressure and keep his team aggressive in it and land that Hodge as well to take that kill in the final setup there. But Cavys Dad, I don't know. I feel like Cavys Dad had a lot of momentum throughout that game, but that's all it takes. It's just that one setup. I mean, getting that setup set up in itself is kind of difficult to do. I mean, they in the scenario that was just happening, I mean, he had very little outs, or he didn't have any outs. He didn't have the Spirit Link, so there you have it. There was a Rallying Cry a little bit earlier that maybe could have been held onto. It was overlapped with the Spirit Link. Maybe they could have held onto it, used it there, and stayed alive throughout that setup. But it's a lot of like what if scenarios, you know. But
Shadow play isn't particularly forgiving, so sometimes you do end up overlapping cooldowns. It's one of those comps where the burst damage, it's so easy to read, but it's at the same time it's so high, which means that when you see it happening, like everyone's like, alert, alert, alert. They press a million buttons, and they did do a pretty good job of not overlapping. But yeah, like you say, that small little overlap might have cost them the game there. I'm curious as to why Joe Fernandez was playing the safeguard, I feel like he might have just wanted it because they did a couple of times manage to hold on to that trinket due to these little damage reduction things, these little niches, putting on them onto Tebow just to shut down the damage onto him essentially. But maybe I'd like to see the Mass Reflect out from him. He can easily preemptively Mass Reflect one of these Hodges or Deeps, or just allow a little gap between the Horror and the Deep on the Shaman so that the Link can come out.
Definitely
Maybe
forces
that could be a good
them to
adaptation.
like deal with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if he presses Mass Reflect towards the end of the Horror, then it gives him a second to take the Mass Reflect off, and maybe that's enough for the Link to come out, the grounding to come out, some button from Tebow, but it's quite hard to time, and I can completely understand why Safeguard would be a good option as well. I
Yeah.
also think maybe Infernian, when he realizes his Shaman's being attacked so much, the Imp isn't that useful anymore, to be honest, because the Imp only dispels one magic debuff. It's not like a normal
Right.
dispel that removes everything from the target. So chances of him removing like a Frostbolt Snow, a VT, a Shadow of Pain, like it's quite high, and it's not that useful. So maybe once he identifies that the Shaman's the main kill target, he could just go back to that Imp CS and try pressure Linway, because they were so close to the kill anyways. If he can just catch him off guard with summoning a pet, getting that CS, then they could definitely have won the game earlier, I feel like.
Joe is going to the
Ooh.
bench. Joe has been benched.
Joe has indeed been benched as the Feral Druid comes out for Cavys Dad. Emphases cat. Wait, what? Do I know this player? I feel like I know who this Feral Druid is, but I'm just not familiar with this character name specifically. Do they go by a different name, Adrian?
Cavy, isn't it?
Oh, Cavy. Duh, it's Cavy. Or is this actually Cavy's dad? It looks like it's Cavy's cat,
Oh.
as they're going to be running the Feral Lock Shaman composition instead of the Warrior Lock Shaman composition. I kind of like that. I feel like a Feral has the ability to be a bit more disruptive almost, with like the ability to clone, and like that range charge as well. It could be a good adaptation here going into game number 2 on Dalaran Sewers. We're going to have to find out.
Yeah, I think if Infernian keeps to the Imp as well, this could be very nice for them, because the Feral would normally be quite a killable target for the Shadow play, but this Imp from Infernian is going to make that a lot harder for them to get enough CC onto Tebow. They can maybe overlap the Fear and the Sheep and do little things like this just to get enough CC, but it still means they have less. It doesn't look like he's going to be the target choice anyways. He's actually taking so much damage instantly. That's going to bait him to use the Incarnation and Berserk. He's trying to play offensive. Vilay put into that bop though, so not too much is going to get done by this. We do see the signs onto Tebow. Vilay just wants to go. He's not going to wait for that Deep Freeze. He's just playing offensive, but unfortunately there's nothing to follow it up onto Tebow, so they don't actually get a trinket with that. All the offensives from Cavys Dad are just doing so much pressure as well. Look at the pressure actually. The bubble coming out, they might force the block as well. And Forever second place having to use a lot, but they do hold on to that wings. Maybe the fact that they hold on to that means they're going to be okay for a little while.
Yeah, Linaway played that very patiently. They are going to thwart the Incarnation out from Cavy, the Feral Druid, so they're going to survive a lot of burst. Actually, both Dark Souls are down now as well, so Forever second place have a moment here where the damage is going to be low, and they can maybe make a push with that. They've got a couple more seconds of Avenging Wrath. I'm curious to see who their targets are going to be. They haven't forced any trinkets, which is very important for their team. Looks like they're pushing forward. Tebow maybe trying to ground a Deep Freeze behind the pillar. There's the Deep Freeze. He goes for the poly. He gets Shadow Furied on it by Infernion. Infernion doing a good job to shut down that crowd control. And once again, Forever second place have no real opportunity to attack. They're forced to run, retreating back to Linaway. But Fried Kitty is just getting bursted. He gets the block barely off at 8%. Linaway actually got locked on a heal. Now Valet is getting down to half HP. I'm not sure if Linaway is going to be able to deal with this pressure for very much longer. He's running out of cooldowns.
Yeah, I really like Linway's position. He's always doing his best to LOS interrupts, also kind of staying away from his DPS so he can't get caught up in any AoE damage. But as I do say that, Forever second place are going for their signature Shaman swap. The Deep Freeze coming out. Can they follow up with a Hodge? A nice grip from Billy assures that they can. The Cascade coming out, so much damage, but it doesn't look like they're able to force a Trinket or the Stone Form out of Tebow, unfortunately. Maybe the damage wasn't quite there. The DR sheet, maybe they're going to try swap it over onto Infernian. That does look like what they're going to do. Do they have a fear of that? Not quite. Maybe they have silence. DR, it's not going to be enough either way. They're going to hold on to it. 100% HP on all of Cavys Dad, and that cannot be said for Forever second place, as we do see Vilay forced into the Spurs thanks to that good clone onto Linway on his bot. the wings does come up again, but you can just see Cavys Dad just look so healthy, so many trinkets available on them, so many cooldowns, and at the same time, forever second place, they do have their wings right now, so they are going to stabilize, but they're just running out of cooldowns. One block available, the bubble's already been used, the SPLYCE already been used. They're going to swap it over onto T-Bow with this wing set. This is going to be a lot of damage potentially. They could just kill through trinket here potentially. The Hodge comes out, he's down to 30%, the NG already procs, the trinket link comes out. Will it be enough? It looks like it will, but that's a lot of cooldowns forced down onto Cavys Dad. T-Bow's going to have to be really careful from now on. He doesn't have that trinket available. They could easily burst him down just like they did in the WLS game, which played out quite similar to this, to be honest. Forever second place were rotting down. They were able to recover each time. Linui's mana dropping lower and lower, but they keep exposing themselves to these T-Bow swaps. One of them's eventually going to land the kill. We see Linui dropping down to about 50% right now, but they're doing such a good job of just keeping the dots clean and just surviving.
Yeah, Fried Kitty's got full icicles, so this next attack might be T-Bow's life if Forever Second Place can close the gap and get to him. T-Bow's playing very far away here, trying to make sure that he doesn't open himself for a swap, but Valet is hunting him down. He's going in stealth, he's dotting him up. There's the full fear. This could be the setup for the game. Can they get in line of sight? And they follow it up with the Horrify. They need to desperately peel T-Bow here. They do manage to break it up. He throws the grounding totem. He grounded the Hodge, and grounding that stun could be very critical for T-Bow to survive here. Now caught into the silence, he's able to stone form out of the silence. He should be able to get some heals here. Tops himself off. Great plays. Nice grounding totem from Cavys Dad, and they are going to stay alive as a result and now bring the pressure back in their favor. Linaway may need to trade out his Avenging Wrath. He's trying to hold on to it as long as possible, and I'm wondering how much longer he can really do it. We see it finally coming out. Now he's forced to cast. He needs to get out of line of sight of any potential interrupts, and Fernion is pushing forward. Looks like he's just going to pop the Dark Soul as he has locked Linaway on that cast. Defensive Fear out from Valet is going to slow down the pace of the game here. I think Linaway should be able to stabilize here once he leaves that stun. Obviously still has the Feral Druid's interrupt potentially here soon, but he is going to stabilize his team now recovering, and that Dark Soul not really accomplishing too much. And we see another setup on the T-Bow. Once again, it could be his life if they don't peel this correctly. And Fernion's looking for defensive fears. He's landing them onto Valet, but maybe it just doesn't matter. T-Bow's just getting destroyed.
Yeah, his trinket was up in 1 second when he died. That's so unfortunate, but like that's what I mean. Like they make these offensive pushes, they get Linui low on mana, but T-Bow has to go in with them. He has to. I think he pushed in because of that defensive fear to tremor out the Feral. It didn't quite hit, but regardless of that, it's so hard for him because he does have to come out and use like Global's healing. He can't just sit behind the pillar the whole game if his team's pushing in, and it does expose him to those swaps, and the swaps are just so deadly from the shadow play.
Oh man, every time that they have like an open line of sight for a swap like that over on the Shaman, they always get something. Even with a grounded Hodge, they get something. And doing it over and over and over, and like again like that, they obviously got ahead. And now I don't know, which composition do you feel actually gave them any sort of edge, the Feral Lock Shaman or the Warrior Lock Shaman?
It's the same weakness, I think.
Exactly. Both the games kind of play out similar, right? They did have more pressure with the FLS, I felt like, but yeah, I don't know. I think they're more tanky as WLS because they did live longer in the WLS game, but maybe they struggle more to kill them. I don't know. It's pretty similar matchups, to be honest. And
yeah,
I just would have liked to see in the WLS game again, maybe with them trying to make more outplays with things like Mass Reflect, and you could even play Vigilance perhaps to try to keep his Shaman alive. I just don't think the Pharaoh provides enough.
I was gonna say the same thing. I want to see more of that Warrior Mass Spell Reflect and that variation of it, because I mean we've seen it time and time again. It is definitely hard to preemptively guess with that Mass Spell Reflect, but we've seen players specifically like Joe Fernandez do pull off those plays, you know. So,
So I
I'd
think
like them to
T-Bow
be able to
can play
try that out.
safer. I feel like as soon
Feral?
as he doesn't have the trinket, no, just T-Bow in general. Like as soon as he doesn't have the trinket, I think he should just put himself as far away as possible because he's the only opening. At least like just hold back and wait until they maybe use a Horrify on the DPS, because they can't just sit there forever waiting for T-Bow. And then maybe just sit on the Shadow Priest. I mean, the Feral Druid can put Fairy Fire up, prevent him from going into stealth, and just train the Shadow Priest so he doesn't get that fear to set up. If he doesn't get the fear and T-Bow's really far away, how are they going to really swap? I mean, he could play aggressive when he has the trinket. I think he should. They're going to get more cooldowns to get farther ahead if he kind of baits them onto himself when he has cooldowns to live. But as soon as he doesn't, I think that he should just automatically be as far away as possible, and they should just sit on Shadow Priest and try and prevent him from getting into stealth and getting across the map.
Yeah, I think like more defensive play from the team altogether and bringing out that game a little bit later might benefit the lock shaman composition a bit more against this shatter play. And I think that they had the same ideology, especially when we saw talent choices coming out like or not talent choices but pet choices like running imp and going that defensive. But it's like the trick is finding the harmony between what is the best defensive, because I honestly feel like the lockouts are probably a better defense than the dispels.
I kind of agree because forever second place are committing everything to these shaman kills, and the imp doesn't really help. We see Fried Kitty actually always saving his CS for these goes. I don't think he really uses it outside, and then all his aim is to try CS the Warlock on fair to stop the peels during those goes, which means they get a lot of damage out in between. I mean, sure, forever second place are trying to loss them, but they're essentially able to free cast in between the goes, and I feel like if he just had that MCS, even if he couldn't use it effectively to stop frostbolts or anything like that on the offensive goes on T-Bay, they could just maybe CS Linway and stop them going so often.
I'm just gonna point it out because I think it's pretty funny that Valet actually put in chat. Linaway on Skype, I'm gonna remove this grounding with Hodge so you can do damage. And Fried Kitty and Valet are like, nah, I don't think that's good.
Nice.
Dude, next level plays. I love it.
Yeah, that's such a German thing. Like
I'm
these guys are
gonna
German.
Hodge
If you
in the
didn't-
grounding to make him think that he's safe.
Those mind games.
Such good mind games.
Maybe a lot of our US viewers don't really know like this German reputation in Europe, but Germans are quite known for their like mechanical efficiency. Especially Swapsy's one of these people that's like he bases his comp is like, this comp has haste buff, it has mastery buff, it has crit buff. This comp's gonna be a good comp. I want to play this comp, you know? Like they min-max so much around their damage. So I can actually see Linway, who is this German paladin, being Hodge doesn't do damage, your spells do damage, I'm just going to Hodge this grounding.
Oh my god, your accent too. You sounded like Botar for a second.
Yeah, I was doing my best German impression, but I mean it worked, right? I mean, sure they didn't get the kill there, but they got the stone form, which set up for the kill at the end. So, I mean, whatever they're doing is working. They're 2-0 up against quite a strong team, and we actually see Cavys Dad have gone back to that WLF.
I'm curious.
Have they gone to the Mass Reflect?
Yeah, let's see.
They haven't
I'm
gone to
just
the
trying
Mass
to look.
Reflect episodes, have you?
No
Not
master
on mine,
flex.
at least.
Alright, this is it though for Cavys Dad. If they lose here, they'll be eliminated from the tournament. Definitely not the representation I think they were looking for in this tournament, but Forever Second Place are a very resilient team. Facing a Warlock as this specific comp is a very challenging matchup, and they're performing extremely well, so let's see if they can keep it up. They only need to win one more game. We see a lot of pressure early on from Cavys Dad, full rows of dots on the entire team. Infernion is out for vengeance, leading with a lot of damage here. Linaway is patiently holding on to his cooldowns though, trying to deal with it just by casting. We can see Joe leaping back, and they're setting up a kill over onto Tebow. Maybe they're trying to bait some cooldowns. Now the Fist of Justice follows it up. A nice Shadow Fury is going to pause the damage a bit here, but it still doesn't seem to matter. Tebow's still just taking so much punishment, down to 30%. He does get the link before the sauce, actually choosing to stone for him as well. He doesn't want to fall too far behind with that, and he's going to trade up the cooldowns effectively to survive. He'll have his trinket for the next one, but after that he's looking very vulnerable. Forever Second Place look to be in a decent position here. Linaway's Avenging Wrath should be able to keep them fairly safe for at least another 5 seconds.
Yeah, and Infernion actually summoned the MCS pet during the midst of all that, but I think he actually got faked, so I certainly didn't see anyone get locked out, so whoever did fake that certainly played that incredibly well from Forever Second Place, but they are dropping so much, and this is what we meant when we said that they could just play so offensive in between these goes. They force the bubble, they force the bob. Tebow's going to get deep sheeped, but because he has that imp, they can now swap it onto Joe Fernandez. The sheep cannot be dispelled, the parry comes out instantly, the trinket comes out instantly. Tebow still has cooldowns, and look at the pressure from Cavys Dad onto Forever Second Place. This play is maybe going to pay off for them, but they are in a bit of trouble. That fit, unfortunately, pre-tremmed. I think it only hit Joe Fernandez anyway, so not too much utility there. We do see the Stormbound onto Villi, the Aura Mastery comes out. They're going to He doesn't actually have the disperse available, so this team's dropping so low, so much trouble. There's no wings available for 15 seconds. Linway down to 50%, but Joe's also dropping low. Infernium probably has the option to resummon that pet and get the dispel out should he require, but he does use the CS there. To stop any follow-up CC. Linway is struggling so much with his healing. He's down to 30%. They do the swap onto Joe, though. He's down to 60% HP, down to 50%. That regen should be enough to keep him alive. The triple fear from Vilai, but Vilai's taking so much damage as well. He gets locked out on Shadow. There's not too much damage coming out. Looks like Cavys Dad are going to recover here, and again, Tebow just holding onto that trinket. Stonefall is not available, but trinket is. That's going to be so important for them going into these next setups.
Yeah, Joe Fernandez just in the center of the map at the moment with no trinket. Could be a person they could exploit. We see a full stun though over on the Linaway, and Cavys Dad are being relentless, pushing forward here. Valet getting charged on, taking quite a bit of pressure. Linaway doesn't really have a lot of cooldowns to deal with this damage. It's going to be very hard for him, his entire team going to about half HP. Tebow in the backline has his trinket. He's going to be feeling pretty safe, but he's very far away from Joe Fernandez, who is caught into a full stun. No one's responding! And that's going to be the game. Forever second place, exploiting the positioning here of Joe Fernandez, and Tebow just unable to respond appropriately, going down 3-0. Forever second place advancing, and they're mourning Joe Fernandez's death here for a second where the score screen came up, but that is going to be the series.
Yeah, I mean, they went for that MCS, which I really liked to see, but whilst they did get more pressure, they also died faster. I think the Warlock should maybe be swapping between them a little bit more. I would love to see when they do commit to Joe Fernandez and force the trinket from Joe Fernandez, him just go back to that Imp, and then they go back on the Shaman because of that, and then when they force the Shaman's trinket, he goes back to the MCS. Like, I'd just love to see him swapping it around like that, but they did still have cooldowns to keep Joe Fernandez alive, and the damage, the raw damage coming out from the shadow play, he was just a little bit too far away from the link. That's quite a difficult map for them, I think, because Joe has to commit so much just to get damage out when the shadow play runs. So
yeah, full Hodge mid map, you know,
yeah,
far
exactly.
away from
Nothing
his
could save
healer.
him.
Yeah. His healer had the trinket, but like you said, he had to trinket. He was running back up the ramp. Joe is taking damage from all three sides, even the denounces being thrown in there by Linaway, and an offensive Holy Shock as well for 35k. And there you have it. Forever second place is going to knock out Cavys Dad and move on in this tournament. I believe that they're actually facing... Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, yeah.